Uncle Ken, good afternoon.
You always try to, bribe me.
Oh, I'm not bribing.
With sweet words.
No, but the words are true, right?
You always do. Because immediately you see me, you know I'm going to attack you. And you do these things to get away with it.
Oh, Uncle
it's
Ken.
good to see you, Sammy.
Good to see you, Uncle Ken.
Sammy, yes. Sammy is somebody I really like.
Oh, bless.
For his knowledge in music. You know, when Sammy plays music, I listen. Because he knows his music.
Thank you.
I love that about Sammy, so I'm very close to him, man.
I learned it from you, Uncle Ken.
You didn't.
I don't miss your show.
I know that.
Because you play a song that I'll go and look for.
I know that. I know that. It's good to see you, Sammy.
Good to see you, Uncle Ken.
I only hear you, I don't see you. This is the trouble. People don't realize that working at G.O.A.T FM.
I know, right?
There are some people you hardly see because of your schedule, you know. But it's good to see you, Sammy.
Good to see you as well, Uncle Ken. Yeah.
Nice one.
And also, I'm excited to see a very good friend and brother of mine. I think I should rightly say Happy New Year to him because I've been seeing him this year. Multi-talented and versatile artist, musician, great family man, awesome talent, multiple award winner, fashionista. The man that you think has been drinking vampire blood, but no, it is goodness and mercy. The Rob Doctor
in the building like bricks and mortar.
The man that can go to India and meet that man.
Keep the accolades coming.
Ochiari Kwame,
My brother,
Happy New Year.
Charlie, Happy New Year. It's been the whole year, Charlie.
I know, right?
Since 2023, it's the whole year. I've not seen you.
This one we say since.
Since.
How you doing?
Charlie, I'm great. I'm doing great. And yourself?
Ah, my God, it's great.
Yes,
You're looking amazing as always. You don't age a minute. Like the last time I saw you, are still looking the same hairstyle, the same everything. Okay, you have changed the watch, and obviously not the same clothes too.
The body doesn't age, but the inside, the inside, there's pain in the inside. You can play tricks with the body, but the inside wage. That's why there's no run away from.
Yeah. But good to see you, Ochiame.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Right. And also, I have the one and only. When this man is speaking, when this man is speaking and he's putting together poetry, like you sit there and you do your hands like this. You're like, hey, it's that man that makes so much to come, bro. The one and only Chief Moomin is in the
Mr.
building.
Forson.
Yeah.
Chief Moomin.
And Sammy,
yes, sir.
you see the way he looks today.
Yeah.
Charlie, this guy is
And
so...
every day, you know the repeats.
He's so classy.
I'm not Chami Kwame.
He's so classy. Just like the way he speaks.
You know, I'm learning from Uncle Ken.
You're learning from
Chief of the old
Halfway down.
Yeah. I was just trying to picture you as a politician for a second.
I know, right? You know, people who knew me back in school actually thought I would end up in politics because I was very involved in student politics from secondary school to the university. However, the doors of art opened and now I'm focused. And maybe someday I may come back. Of course. If we're able to restructure the economy very well.
Let's go and look for some land somewhere and create our country.
I know, right?
You know, yeah. And also, the man who was in the headlines for the latest big transfers. Well, this man is on Facebook and Twitter, and he tweets or he does a post. Everybody is there typing plenty English. The one and only, my very good friend and brother. But the difference, he has hair, I don't have hair. Kwame Dazi is also in the building. He's Joy Entertainment journalist. Kwame.
Sammy Forson.
Akwaba, welcome home.
It's your new signing, yeah?
Yes.
Transfer window is closed.
Transfer window is closed.
I don't want to mention the name of his agents, but he knows himself. Because he's also my agent.
Kwame Dazi, I used to read up on him when he was at Flex. Was it the Flex newspaper?
Flex newspaper.
And I reached out to him after reading an article of his one day. I didn't know him from Adam.
Yeah.
And I reached out to him and I told him how much I respected his writing and enjoy reading from him. Unfortunately, with the advent of social media, he stopped writing deep articles.
Okay.
And only concentrates on these short things to attract every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Wow, you've been
and the
observing.
likes. And the likes. And even though it's good for him, I like to read the deeper things that the features they come up with.
Yeah.
You know.
You
But
see-
all the same,
we have more of that on myjournline.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of that's
Yeah.
coming. So no
nice
worries
one.
at all.
Nice one.
You see, it's unfortunate, but on social media, a lot of people don't have the time to read. Because
That's true.
you post something and they'll come and ask you how much. Meanwhile, the thing, if you read,
The prices
you
are
see
there.
it's there. You know,
That's
so-
very true.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Kwame, good to see you.
Good to see you, Sammy Forson.
Let me start with you.
Yeah.
Quickly, before I get to Ochami Kwame. You put out you're one of the people that posted the top 10, the
Yeah.
Billboard top 10 that I just went through, and it's been mixed reactions. But personally,
Yeah.
you know, assuming it was just me and you, nobody's listening.
Anyway,
What do you make of the top 10 Billboard?
I think it's a top. Should I call it top 10? Okay, if it's top 10, they have a criteria for it.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, I am confused a bit because people are thinking that they rather put together a list for best 10.
Okay.
Now, you can't be on top and not be the best. So, looking at the criteria, they are mentioning some figures, some platinum stuff, achievements, having impacts on people and all that.
Being
Now, when you put
billionaires and all.
together. Yes, it tells you that these were people who were looking beyond just the flow or the rap
Yeah.
dexterity.
Yeah.
I would rather they named the list maybe top 10 or top 50 rap artists in America.
In no particular order.
And not a rapper. A rapper means that you take into consideration
Great.
the lyrical prowess, the flow. Ochami Kwame is there, he knows all those things. The
Yes.
flow, the punchlines and all that. Poetry and all that. But these are people who put together a list looking at it from different perspectives. The
Yeah.
commercial value, the monetary aspect of it and all that. So I think it depends on where you're coming from. You can also put together a list to talk about whatever you want to communicate. If you say, let's say, top 10 rappers in Ghana, and then you want to set your own parameters, you know what you're looking out for. Okay, so yes, it's very debatable. And I saw people complain about Drake in there. They think Drake doesn't really rap, He does what we call the melodic rap. And according to most people, melodic rap isn't really typical rap.
Yeah.
Because you put melody to rap. I don't know if you've seen Snoop's video.
Yes, I did.
Talking about these young generational rappers, putting some melodies on the rap, and he thinks that let's go way back into time and then do proper rap. But can we always go back? Can't we accept change? That's another thing, because I have heard people actually have problems with those doing the melodic rap. They think they're not real rappers, and so
They're considered
seeing Drake
they are,
in there,
they are
it's a
considered
bit
lazy rappers.
lazy rappers.
Yes.
Lazy rappers. But Ochami Kwame disagrees because he thinks that every rap is rap. But if you are rapping, you are rapping. You are rapping, you are rapping. Why do you
Okay.
add melody to rap? Adding melody to rap makes it singing. I'm not Ochami Kwame.
Okay, let me bring it out.
Am I right?
Let-
But
You've said that some amazing things and ended it with a very dangerous note.
when I saw your hand going, no,
Yes,
I was like,
no, because I don't want him to poison the people.
But quickly, what do you make of the list?
Of the list?
Yeah, you
I like
listening
it.
here. Yeah,
I just think that Eminem should have beaten Jay-Z
okay.
because
Why do you think so?
because Eminem is more technical. He sold more records. If it's about impact, if it's about direct impact based on music and audience share, Eminem has outsold everybody.
Including Tupac?
Yes. Therefore, if you are looking at the commercial viability of the artist and the dexterity of the art itself,
Yeah.
I think that the only person the only two rappers who are on the level of Eminem will be Busta Rhymes and Andre 3000 of Outkast, because these are the people who have the technical skills plus the poetry and the cadence to be able to create something that we've not heard before. The only difference between Busta Rhymes and Eminem is that Busta Rhymes is not, it doesn't have Eminem's depth and doesn't have Eminem's storytelling abilities. And also Andre 3000 at a point decided to stop whilst Eminem kept going. So I think that Eminem should have been number one, based on sales and the technical skills of what rap itself is, and the volumes of music that he puts out. You know, but apart from that,
interesting.
I think everybody on there has the potential.
Drake, who does melodic rap?
You see that you have to be careful when you say melodic rap, because in rap music, what we sort of call melody is a cadence. What the poets call meter. You know, and the more melody you put in rap, the more difficult it is. Putting melody in rap means now the rap music is going to sit with the chord, sit in time, and be in key. So melodic rap is more difficult than regular rhythmatized speeches that we do. So do not water down melodic rap, because that is where rap is going. That's the future of rap. Because people speaking like Japas and brothers, but people screaming at us on records, it's not sexy anymore. People want to hear some melody, so that even if they don't understand what you are saying, they can. There's a certain symbiotic connection between the artist and
because
the
of the melodies, they can go along with it.
Exactly. So that is what makes Jamaicans better rappers than all of us, because they put melody.
They are better rappers than all of us.
I mean, almost every amazing rapper in the world is a Jamaican, from Busta Rhymes to Biggie Smalls, Slick Rick. And then so take a good look at a rapper like Shabba Ranks, who is rapping like I rap, but everybody sang Tingalingaling, School Bell Ring, Fiber no, that is also rap. But because he added melody to it, that's why it was so commercial. So melody added to rap makes it special. It doesn't water it down.
Would you based on what you're saying and based on the vibe you're giving, would you at this point encourage rappers who are hardcore rappers to become melodic rappers if they want commercial success?
Completely. I agree with what you are saying completely. Let me use a classic example like Sarkodie. When Sarkodie started rapping, we all enjoyed what he was doing, but it was when he added melody to it. Baby, the things they do me, they make. Then it became a national success.
Great.
So it is very key that we don't water down melody, because it's the most difficult part of the creative process.
Valid point. All right.
But Shami, the example you gave, it's in the chorus.
Yes.
Not in the.
So I want you to imagine if the whole rap, if the whole rap is melody. That was why. See, the current rap that all of us are using now was created by Rakim Allah. And the reason why Rakim's rap made that difference between what the rap music that we're hearing, hip hop, we don't stop. The reason why Rakim's rap, because Rakim played the saxophone. So he took the saxophone melodic phrases that he understood and laced it with the words, and he had that dynamic flow, making his rap that commercial.
Lovely.
So we should what the bubblegum rap that we are talking about should not be called a melodic rap. At all. The bubblegum halam hilly holo hilly hello. That is not melody.
I think we need a one particular show,
a master class
to dissect rap and its forms and all that. So let me quickly come to you, Chief Moomin. The top 10 Billboard best rappers of all time.
I mean, we've heard the connoisseur himself, Chama Kwame. I would not have much usefulness to add, but except to say that I always find that you can't objectively detail one person as the best of anything in art. You know, art is just extremely subjective. It's just like saying Banku is better than Fufu or Fufu. I mean, it's about who is consuming. I mean, obviously you can have some metrics and you can say that these people made the metrics, but I don't think you can detail one person as the best singer in the world, the best rapper in the world, the best poet in the world, the best actor in the world. I think that objectively it's not possible and it's not realistic. So all of these things are always metrics that we use to acknowledge some significant achievement that people have made in the industry. That's why there's always a lot of controversy when lists like this come up, because a lot of people have different preferences. But I think that Ochai Mokama has really given us a lot of enlightenment about this whole rap, you know, and it reminds me of Jebu Ambule, you know, and his claim to also being one of the originators of rap. And if you look at his rap, I would say it's melodic rap, right? You know, there's some bit of anyway, I think that that's fine. So I mean, I don't think the list can be very much objective as it is, but I think it gives us some metrics to appreciate people who have succeeded in the game for quite a while.
Great. Uncle Kennedy.
Yes, Sammy. Please, before you go any further,
yes,
let me just say that this conversation, particularly about this genre of music, it is the only genre that if you asked me to host a show and play music from this genre, I would fail abysmally.
Rap is not your thing.
It is not my thing.
Okay.
But Nia Itego tried to get me to
like rap music.
To like some rap music.
Okay.
And the type of rap music Nia Itego got me to like is exactly what Ochai has been talking about. Okay. The melodic rap.
Great.
Because my music is all melody. I keep saying it all the time. I love melodies, you know. And I would leave the discussion to the folks who know what they are talking about and learn from them. Okay. Other than add my, uneducated insights.
Right. Okay. And thank you. I'm going to connect pretty shortly.
Hey, Baba Sadiq.
I'm going to connect pretty shortly with 3-time Grammy-nominated musician and artist Rocky Downey. But before that, my incoming MP is here.
It's because I saw Uncle Kesu, I was just looking at him.
Hey, Baba Sadiq.
This one is looking young and handsome.
Happy New Year. Oh.
Yeah, but we haven't met this year.
We haven't met. I haven't seen him for ages.
Sadiq, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm happy to see Uncle Ken.
And
excited that he's been properly taken care of. He's looking more new female admirers for him.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. I don't know if you were able to check out the top 10 Billboard best rappers of all time.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Well, I did. I mean, except that I think that for a lot of the people that most of us got into argument, most of us were arguing on the art form.
Okay.
And of course, I mean, when you look at it, and Ochai Mokama was explaining strictly on the merits of the art form and how rappers performed, Jay-Z would not strictly 10 over 10 come out tops.
Yeah.
But I think when they compared other factors regarding commercial viability, relevance in the space, and staying on top, and then being able to leverage whatever brand that you build initially on rap music, of course, there's none other than Jay-Z having to number one.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it from that particular sense, there's nobody else. I mean, I think apart from Dr. Dre, that who comes very close as somebody that leverage rap music and their initial positioning as rappers to maintain that much relevance and be able to diversify their portfolio into all other things. I mean, sports, hospitality, beverages, and all of these things that Jay-Z has been able to do. There's no other rapper that comes anywhere close.
And being a power symbol as well.
Exactly. So there's nobody, and of course, but strictly on the merit of the rap, like an art form.
Yeah.
Of course, for those of us that when we're coming up that were on the side of Nas, we disagreed heavily.
True.
Yeah. For those of us that love underground rap music. He won't come anywhere close, but for all these other things, relevance and extension, Jay-Z, he fits it. He's runaway number one.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Right, thank you, Sadiq. And Showbiz A to Z is made possible thanks to MTN Everywhere You Go, and of course, Superstar Multi-Fruit Drink from Casa Preco Company Limited. We have a lot to talk about this afternoon into the evening. But let me quickly get on Zoom and connect with one son of the land that we are so proud of, three-time Grammy-nominated musician Rocky Downey. Rocky, it's good afternoon here. I don't know what time it is where you are. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can, maybe on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect, loud and clear. How are you doing, Rocky?
I'm doing very good. It's actually very early morning here. I'm in California desert right now. I'm in Palm Springs.
Oh, great.
So, but it's always great to wake up and connect with my brothers and sisters. As you can see, when you're traveling, you always miss home. So
Yeah.
It's been a very intense week for me, and you know, it's good to be on the other side. You know, getting a little bit rest in nature and all of that. So, yeah, but it made me wake up early morning, so that's good.
Well, at least we didn't get you out of bed that early. So that's fine. That's fine. But quickly before we get into the Grammy conversation, I wanted to find out from you if you've been able to check out the Billboard list of top 10 rappers of all time, and probably if you have any comments with regards to the list.
Well, you know, the thing is that I am not a one that subscribes to lists, you know, and hierarchies, and because I feel that art form is a subjective thing, and many people, the relevance of what they represent does not necessarily mean something that, you know, an industry that is only based upon mostly commercial considerations and not necessarily the depth of talent that, you know, some of the talent that I have seen that were really incredible, that I will call some of the best rappers that I've met, you know, in my journey and all of that, you know, many of them didn't make it to that list. So it's hard for me to make a comment on that. But at the same time, too, I think that, you know, celebrating an art form that came out of the Black people's experience and, you know, was also inspired, as we can all know, that this rap music came from the griot music of Africa. You know, so we shouldn't lose sight of that. I mean, although Kool Herc and all of those people, you know, really brought it because it came from Jamaican dance hall and all of that. And they started in the Bronx and in New York and were able to popularize this art form. The origins of it is based upon the traditional African style of music and communication and oratory, you know. So to celebrate the top fives, what's it called? Top five artists. I was actually I was present at the Black Music, you know, Coalition event where, you know, Dr. Dre was being honored, you know, Lil Wayne was being honored, and everybody was being honored. And it was a good thing to see that this art form has had the opportunity of being in the central part of popular music, you know, so that's something that we should celebrate. And even when we look at Ghana, you know, it's come back and influenced us. I remember, you know, when I was on the red carpet, I was asked to name my 5 top rappers. You know, what I did was that I had to add African rappers in it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, you know, I'm not there to be someone that is pushing only rappers that have had the opportunity and the ecosystem of being hailed on that level that are being talked about. When we talk about African rap, and, you know, we can't forget people like Reggie Rostone. We can't forget people like Positive Black Soul out of Senegal, who were one of the earliest bands to really popularize African rap by mixing even the original griot style with the popular style, you know. And I mentioned Sarkodie too, you know. So for me, it was, and everybody was like, you know, but That's what is relevant to me. So we go there to tell our stories. We don't go there to amplify other people's story. That is our mission there. So when we talk of top 5 rappers of all time, it's a subjective thing. And I feel that we are becoming a society that is depending on ranking and all of that. Look at Ochame Kwame. I mean, come on, you know, amazing rapper and all of that kind of stuff. But when we're talking about other people, you know, so let's stay to a narrative that really reflects who we are, because I think that when it comes to the best, we are from the best, and the best is always in the West, and the best is always in Ghana.
Lovely.
So that's just my take on it.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. And talking about representing ourselves best, Ghana put up a heavy representation at the Grammy Awards recently, and I mean, Africa in actual fact was heavily represented. I mean, the likes of you were there as well. And well, first of all, let me find out how different was this Grammy experience for you compared to the other times you've been nominated and you've been in attendance.
You know, the interesting thing about the Grammys is that, you know, many people ask me, and you know, they ask me, how do you get nominated? What happens? And all of that kind of stuff. I say, you know, I'm just an artist. You know, as you see right afterwards, I'm right now in the desert. I'm writing. Until I get back to LA, I'm getting in the studio. I'm working. I'm building an album, you know, and that's what I do, you know. And, you know, even somebody just went onto my my comment page right now and say, why do you want a Grammy? Didn't you see the devil worship at the Grammy? And I was like, hey, I'm not there to represent, I'm just there to represent God and represent music and represent myself. That's what I do, you know. But the interesting thing is that the Grammys are a means by which, you know, our peers, you know, celebrate creativity around the world. So regardless of anything, you know, as artists, we do things in isolation. We do things by ourselves. You go on tour, you know, you push your music on radio. You know, some of it gets popular, some of it doesn't get popular. But when there's an opportunity to celebrate through the industry, there's a positive aspect to it, you know. And this year, there was more African nominees, you know, about 10 Africans that were nominated across. You know, so it shows that the recognition and then the impact of African music, especially in the times in which we live in, has become amplified, you know. And this amplification, for me, the value of it is that we are working to build, you know, stronger systems for our music. We're trying to get our copyright, you know, done very well. We're trying to get artists to be paid for their work. We're trying to get our systems upgraded so that we can be able to monitor airplay around the world. We're trying to get opportunity for our artists to play around the world. So sometimes some of these attention are a means to leverage this type of investments and this type of inclusion in our industry. A good example was that, you know, my nomination, you know, when I was nominated last year, we had GIPC, you know, come with me, including Denta Amoating, to Las Vegas to hold an event that was leveraging my nomination to also engage the business community and all of that. And that is how our people connected with the academy, you know, and it also led to now us being able to leverage that to also engage the academy to focus on some of our artists and also to focus on Africa. So these are all things that are a product of, you know, in terms of the work that I have done or through my music have done to also leverage that platform to help, you know, jumpstart our industry. And for me, the value is not necessarily getting awards. You know, I say we should not be fixated on awards. Awards are not necessarily creativity. Awards are not necessary. The best, even some of the greatest musicians in history never received an award. You know, Fela Kuti was never received a Grammy Award. Bob Marley never received a Grammy Award. You know, so it shouldn't be a yardstick by which we feel is the definitive expression of your artistic value.
Okay.
But it has a certain value to it. And that's what I want to say. It was a good time for Africa, 10 nominations from across the continent, and it was a big representation of the continent.
All right. Now, Rocky, you made a point, and I would want to ask you a bit more on this. Now, you've been nominated for the Grammys 3 times. You haven't won yet, but what kind of benefits come with even being, say, Grammy nominated? What benefits come with that?
You know, every country, even when you read the Academy, before they read everybody's thing, they talk about how many nominations they've had and how many wins they've had, because the nominations are as important as the win. When you're nominated, there's only 5 or 4 that is called out of the world. So it's a very honorable place to have certain bodies of work, have that kind of acknowledgement. Winning is, you know, is something that when it comes, but you don't fixate, as I say, you don't fixate on the awards. You fixate on doing the right thing. You fixate on building our industry. We should fixate on how we can get more Ghanaian artists to be successful musically, not winning awards. How our industry can work together to push, you know, our myriads of talent and creativity to the fore. That's what I think that's what we need to do. So I see, you know, I am happy that I have been one of the only few artists that has been nominated in 3 different categories, you know, which is unheard of. That shows the extent of the creativity that I put in my work in the reggae's category, in the global category, and also global performance. So it's a good thing for our industry. I think that we should focus on the positive, and we should use that as an opportunity to, you know, uphold and develop our industry and connect with all our incredibly talented pool of musicians. I always say that anytime anybody asks me, I always say that you have to come to Ghana and see how our industry is full of, you know, creatives who are creating pathways and breaking the mold when it comes to African music. That's all I can say.
Wonderful. Now, we saw footage of, you know, the first ever Africa nominee brunch that was held on the eve of the Grammy Awards, put together by G.O.A.T and Denta Martin, which was really exciting. We saw a number of nominees there as well come through, like yourself, Rocky. We also saw quite a number of other nominees come through. Would you say that this definitely is a step in the right direction, Rocky?
No, any event that, you know, highlights African music and African musicians is a good initiative. That's why I am here. Yeah.
Right, great. Okay, so Rocky, please do stay with us. I'll be connecting pretty shortly with Denta Martin as well. She is the CEO of G.O.A.T, and she made the Africa nominee brunch possible. But let me come back to the studio real quick, and let me come to Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken, what do you make of Ghana's representation at the recently held Grammy Awards? We saw the likes of Stonebwoy, we saw the likes of Edem on the red carpet as well, and Kitty was also in attendance. Rocky was there as well, definitely, and there was also a bit of commentary on social media regarding how people were networking and all that.
Exactly.
Holistically, what do you make of it?
I think it was brilliant. I mean, it was something we need to celebrate because, I mean, back here in this country, in the music industry, the conversation has always been Grammys, Grammys, Grammys. And I'm a boy, Kwame. That has been the conversation. What we can do to win Grammys, you know, in the music industry currently. So I was pleasantly happy to see the consignment that attended the Grammys, you know.
Yeah.
And people are forgetting. There were other journalists who were also there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I saw.
Because I
one or
heard
two, yeah.
an interview that was Delamundi interview with the Grammy chief, Harvey Mason Jr.,
Yeah.
you know, about what he felt about the African representation and the Ghanaian particularly, because he had been here a few months prior to the Grammys, you know. And I felt good that at least we're making inroads. This attitude of us to always look for negatives in every situation, it's terrible. I just don't understand why we are obsessed as a people with looking for negatives instead of applauding the positives. We would lay down the positives and deal with the negatives. And like somebody said, I think it was you, people go on social media and insult, you know, talk down on people and make things look like they're not worth what they are. It's a very unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in. I was happy to see all these folks, you know. And for anybody to say things like Stone Boy was no, yeah, you should him. Thank you. What is Ahushishe? Why do you think he went there? He's there. He knows what he's about. He's taking advantage of the situation. He's laying down, you know, plans for himself. I think it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. Sammy, something surprised me at this year's Grammys event. What is the category that Burna Boy won last year? Was it global?
I think it was global music.
Yes, they changed the world music thing to global, didn't they?
Yes.
After a while, okay. Now, I realized that after all the discussions on the Grammys, I didn't know the point being made by people was, oh, Burna Boy got nominated but didn't win. You know, this year.
They didn't focus on which other African won the award.
Yeah, but was it an African that won the award?
There was an African in it.
Yeah, I'm saying Burna Boy is African. He was in it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, was it? Yeah. Was it an African that won that global?
There was an African in it.
Yes, the flutist is not African, but the two other artists are African.
Okay.
The South African.
That got me thinking, so I checked.
Is that Rocky's category or Bennett's category?
Bennett's category.
Bennett's category. What was Bennett's category?
Global music album.
Thank you. Do you know who won that award?
The name is so known.
I'm asking because I found it very interesting that nobody talked about who won the award. But it was about who was supposed to have won the award and didn't.
Or who they were expecting.
Or who
to
they
win
were
the
expecting to win the award and didn't. So when I was reading through all the publications and all the commentary on social media and elsewhere, I asked myself, but who actually won that global thing award this year? So I went to check. And do you know who won? It's amazing. That award, the global the global music album for solo album of this Grammys win was won by a Japanese, not an African.
Wow.
Not a West Indian, not a British, it was won by a Japanese. And the Japanese is known as Masanori Takumi. And he's better known as Masa Takumi. He's a Japanese Grammy Award winning multi-instrumentalist, composer, and music producer. He was nominated for a Grammy Award in 2014 for Best Reggae Album. That caught my attention. How could a Japanese be nominated for Best Reggae Album? And so you come back to Rocky. What was Rocky nominated for.
Global
One of
Performance.
his nominations.
Global music performance.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying even before that, wasn't it for a reggae album of
The
his?
reggae album first.
Yes, the reggae album was first, and that is when all of us started asking, but how can a Ghanaian artist do reggae music and be nominated? What were the Jamaicans and things not doing? So it shows you that the Grammy people look for certain things other than what we think they are looking for in nominating or choosing award winners.
Yeah, true.
You know, so now this Japanese is an award winner for this year for Best Global Music Album for his solo album Sakura. So I went to check on the album. I listened to it and I realized that he had something that intrigued the folks. That's why they gave it to him. So Sammy, all the commentary about what upset me was the one about Edem. Somebody made some derogatory commentary about Edem, why he was there. But this goes to show that it's not the people who are commercially viable that win Grammys all the time.
True. Let me come to Ochami Kwame.
Yes.
The rap doctor. Grammys 2023, Ghana's representation. What do you make of it?
I loved it, honestly. So I woke up the next day. I went on social media. I saw Stonebwoy and Edem greeting at the Grammy. I said, "Wow, how did this happen? I didn't hear of it." You know. So I woke up to it. I honestly didn't follow the whole Twitter, obviously, hula baloo on who should have won and the trolls. But I thought it was an amazing opportunity because if I had the opportunity to go to the Grammys, I would jump on the next flight to go and spend time with all those amazing artists that I look up to and seize the opportunity to try to see if I can get a telephone number or two so I can get in some features and take pictures for my social media and connect, find management and find plugs and try to see if I can have a real connection with someone that can take my music to the next level. There's no way that I would not have taken advantage of that opportunity. So, and
Hi, my name is Ochami Kwame. I'm from Ghana. You know what I'm
saying? I've gone in my kente.
I was going to ask you, how would you have dressed for the occasion?
But if you do that,
Wallahi talahi.
Ochami, how would you have dressed for the occasion?
I would have gone in my kente.
Thank you.
In my henema with
That's
my
right.
beats all around and get like a boom player, a boom box. And be playing Adwa.
Who is this African prince?
Exactly.
Hello, what's your name? Where are you coming from?
Exactly. Since I cannot go with the whole ensemble, I will have like a boom box following me,
And you would have looked different.
and then I'll go in my regal kente with gold everywhere. You know,
Nice.
it would have been very difficult for someone else to steal the shine.
Exactly. I agree. That was my only down trip.
But I love
these
that.
guys.
I thought I didn't think that people will laugh at this opportunity. But you know, Uncle, you should know that in a country where we chastise children for not coming first, we even sometimes beat our sons for if a woman beats your son in
class.
One more bumper beat you. In a country where everything is competitive, in a country where a lot of things are divisive, in a country where, especially in our industry, our revenue is residual, which means people pay school fees, eat, buy clothes, go to the hospital before they use the next 200 cedis to watch
To buy a bottle of beer.
The next $10 to pay. In such a place, you should understand that a lot of people are bitter. That's why we have so many bitters on the market. Boss. Yes, a lot of people are bitter. We beat children when they make mistakes. When they grow up and someone goes to the Grammys and do not win, we will punish them for not winning. Not observing that 90% of the time the child washed his dishes, slept, laid his bed, went to school, so we don't see all that. But immediately they make one mistake, we are trying to. So it is something that we carry back. You were asking, you don't understand why we are better. We pass it on to our children. That is who we are. You know, so if we really want art, like, let me shamefully quote Karl Marx, we can't indulge in art until after we've learned to clothe and feed ourselves. You know, so as long as we still have that type of mentality, no art is going to emerge from this place. So we need to work on ourselves and plant the victory psychology and the victory energy in our children, so that they will grow up and clap for the one that got nominated and not tease them.
Valid point. Valid point. Kwame Dazi.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we were very well represented at the Grammys. Well represented, because even apart from nominations from Rocky Dauni, we had Guilty Beats any nominations as well. He did a song, Move, on Beyonce's Renaissance. Now, that particular song earned him the Album of the Year and then the Dance Stroke Electronic Album of the Year nominations. Now, previously, you know, we've had debates and controversy surrounding what really constitutes one getting nomination at the Grammys. Now, that particular category required that any producer who was on deserved a nomination and ultimately winning. So Guilty was a nominee and a potential winner. So apart from Rocky, apart from Guilty, and all the people that appeared at the African nominees branch, the red carpet, Stoneboy, networking, and all that, I think it's something that we should be happy about. Now, most times we hear people say, as for awards, you know, even Rocky said some just a while ago that, you know, it's subjective and all that, making reference to the Billboard chart. But he's in an award scheme that is also very subjective. I think show business is something that isn't always very objective. You know, most times we use metrics and parameters that are collective subjectivity, if you like. So it's Sadiq's opinion and Chief Mumin's opinion plus Uncle Ken's opinion together, aggregation of subjectivity. So we can't get 100% objectivity in that regard. But I think we should look at the business side of it. It's a show business. And so if you saw Stoneboy trying to talk to Taylor Swift there on the red carpet, it was business. You look at the opportunities that come with the nomination. And when you asked Rocky, I don't know if he evaded the question or maybe he didn't understand it, because I was looking forward to him telling us how these 3 nominations have helped him.
Helped his career.
You know, yes, exactly. We've seen artists down here in Ghana who have gotten some international deals because they were maybe nominated in the VGMA's 3 Music Awards or even won the awards. So you can't underestimate that particular effect on you, as in getting a nomination, the Grammys or any other award scheme. So I think that Denta has done well again, you know, thinking about Africans in general, and that has been her agenda for a while now, you know, championing the African dream and all that. So bringing all these people together and then making sure our people were also very well involved. And I think it should be a stepping stone to the Ghanaians that went there to doing something bigger. You know, maybe next time we hear Stoneboy and Jordan Sparks, or maybe Kitty and somebody else, or Adam and whoever. Because I saw Stoneboy take pictures with about 7 or 8 people, you know, Kabaka, Pyramid, Fat Joe, and all those people. I think it is a very smart move. And I'm happy that this year we went to the Grammys. We were there. We were felt there. And so maybe moving forward, yes, you may think that we are being overly obsessed with the Grammys. But yes, we need to, because, Charlie, it is show business. So that's it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Chief Mumin.
Well, let me take it from where my brother Kwame landed. You know, the idea of we being obsessed with the Grammys. You know, obviously Grammys is essentially an American awards for American musicians, except that it has become like the de facto world music awards because of the the important role the American economy, or music economy, or entertainment economy plays. Probably the biggest show business, is from the United States. So it's understandable why an American validation in quote is something to be coveted, because, well, it's show business, right? So that's the biggest market. The biggest stars are usually American stars. So, I mean, you can understand the American cultural, at the risk of being accused of using big word, American cultural hegemony over the world. So any association with that global power in terms of show business is something that a lot of people in the global south around the world will associate. So it's not only Ghanaians who may obsess with winning the Grammy Award, or Africans who may obsess. I'm sure if you go to all around the world, a Brazilian nominated will be obsessed. Look at this Bad Bunny. Is he American? He's Latino, right? But even in his performance at the Grammy, whatever wins, it's something that his people will be proud of. This Japanese person, so globally, to win a Grammy Award is a big deal because of the important role America plays in the world of entertainment. So I've always felt that yes, those of our artists who can get representation is all good, but we should always be careful not to make the Grammys a gold standard, not to be overly competitive about the Grammys, and not to devalue the essence of our local musicians, because they may not have gone to the Grammys or earned the Grammy nomination. For me, that's all I've always been cautioned about, that we shouldn't enter a new system of craze where the way we herald our artists is because that artist has gone to Grammys or won a Grammy, right? It's all right that some of them will go, a few of them will always go, but we would always celebrate and enjoy our musicians for who they are. The local person in some village somewhere enjoying the local music by the local musician cares not for what the Grammys can do for them, right? So for me, that has always been my caution, that let's not overly obsess and make it the gold standard, and the holy grail of achievement for our artists. That it's okay that some of them may never go, for majority of our artists will never go to the Grammys or never win a Grammy because it's an American awards, right?
So if an artist, you are saying they shouldn't dream of Grammy.
I'm not saying they shouldn't dream. I said collectively we shouldn't obsess and make Grammy the holy grail, to say that if you haven't won a Grammy or you haven't been nominated for a Grammy, then you are not an artist worth to be celebrated in quote, in a way. It shouldn't be like, I don't know, maybe it shouldn't be the most important metric for us in this market.
So what should be?
Well, see, at the end of the day, it's about you and your fans, right? So far as you're able to produce music that is timeless, that entertains people, that can pay for you. Some of you may go international to make money. Some of you locally, it is not everyone who has to drive a Bentley, right? Or a Rolls Royce, or, be drinking Moe every day, right? If you can have your 3-bedroom in Pokwase somewhere, you can take good care of your family through the work you do in music. And let's understand that music goes beyond the musicians. There's a whole value chain. They are instrumentalists, they are technicians, they are producers. Some of these people will never hear their names, but they must make their livelihoods out of music. So let's not always focus on just the musicians alone and thinking that 1 or 2 musicians who make it out there are selling big records means that our entire music industry is benefiting. So we should be careful we do not generalize the success of a few. So right now we can look at Nigerian music and say, oh yeah, Nigerian music is doing well. Of course we have the Burna Boys, we have the Wizkid, but how is that translating to the hundreds of thousands of other people in the value chain? So for me, I don't want us to be blinded by the glory that comes out of it. That said, obviously, if we have a Ghanaian artist that wins a Grammy, it's great. If we have a Ghanaian artist, even the idea of the proximity within these big stars makes you even dream more. Stonebwoy is there, Taylor Swift is just a few meters away, some of these big stars, like, even in himself, it gives him some level of confidence that, okay, I can rub shoulders with these big guys, right? Maybe I can also do an album that can sell millions over time. So it increases the ambition of our artists. And obviously, if somebody is doing well and his Nigerian will fear, he can open the doors for many more people. So my point is that yes, those who can get there. What
do you mean by Nigerian will fear?
Oh no, some people can. When I say like he's thinking about people behind him, and he can pull, like how Denta and Rocky Dawoni are pulling people beyond themselves. Our artists, those who, I don't mean anything mischievous. I'm just saying that if he's minded to use
something.
If he's minded to use his opportunities, it can benefit others. Some people may get all the exposure in the world, get all the big, but it may never benefit anybody. Yeah. But some people with just a little opening can take so many people along. So yes, let's celebrate our artists. I think it's wonderful for the visuals. It's wonderful for brand Ghana. Ghana in itself has been getting a lot of leverage, a lot of global branding, and to see some of our stars, rubbing shoulders with global stars. In a way, it's a positioning for Ghana as a whole, and it's further, cementing this idea of Ghana becoming a cultural capital, for Africa. So for me, I think it's a good thing, but I always caution that let's not make it the holy grail. If Sarkodie never wins a Grammy, it is okay. If Otran Kwame doesn't win, it's okay. We appreciate him for the timeless work that he has produced that will continue to produce. Of course, we appreciate how trim and sexy is. Okay,
Pressure.
Yes.
Right. 9 minutes away from 5 o'clock. Pretty shortly, we'll connect with Denta Amwatin via Zoom. But quickly, Sadiq.
Yes, Sammy.
Before I even ask you for your submission, the picture of Black Sherif and the water thing.
Yeah.
I think that really projected the artist in a different, altogether.
Exactly. Yeah, it did.
And people should be aspiring for those things as well.
Exactly. So you see that was where I was going to build my point from. That the silver lining of purpose for awards essentially is that they are enablers.
Yeah.
They are industrial enablers. I know how talents to get them to be very modest or to sort of water down on the extreme competition that awards could instigate. Everybody says, "Oh, it's not the best," and you would get some of these modest comments from Chifumi. "Oh, it's okay. Come on, it's never okay."
Yeah, because
I understand that ambitions
are like World Cup
ambitions
for
means
as well.
different things to different people. But most importantly, if you aim for the highest, the biggest metric, there are some benefits it comes on, and it has a cascading effect even to the value chain.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Burna Boy woke up one day to aspire to the Grammys and kept on working at it. He would have resigned to his fate just like the way we do to a lot of our Ghanaians. "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You don't need to win," and all of those things. It's a very typical Ghanaian attitude. He says, no, it's not okay. He needs to work towards that and get it. So what did he do? He began to realize, he began to look into it and began to add the flesh or the layers that needed him to win. By so doing, do you know what he did? He improved his art. He improved his production. He improved his plug system.
His
he improved
branding,
his distribution.
Yeah.
He improves his he expands his he improves his brand, his positioning, and everything. Guess what's happening today? When you talk about Nigeria, previously when Nigeria had a reputation for 419, today when you talk about Nigeria, there's no way you can talk about Nigeria without Burna Boy, Wizkid, and everybody else. Guess what is happening now? By virtue of aiming for the Grammys and uses that as a yardstick, because awards are enablers to expand his positioning across the world, he's been able to activate an interest in Nigerian music in the ways that is delivering value to them. Every year in December, Ghana here will put into almost $3 million to the Nigerian economy. What do you think that is? Every year in Ghana, from all the big shows that's coming on face value, almost $3 million that goes directly to Nigerian talent. And when they are coming, it's not only the talent. When Burna Boy performed here, he came with a whole band made up of Nigerian talent. So I get it that sometimes we do not like to expand the conversation. We look at it strictly from the artist, that particular one. Awards are enablers. When we did 3 Music Awards last year, for instance, it wasn't just the talent that got the rewards that only got an opportunity to expand their brand or build on it. The likes of Black Sherif made something out of it. Today, he's got that massive global attention because there was a clear and intentional attempt to say that since awards are enablers and we've invested in creating a certain platform, if we could leverage on that platform, we could actually blow out and grow a global star. That was the mindset. But guess what? On that night, he wasn't the only person that was benefiting. Almost everybody in the value chain, from medical professionals, were benefiting from the platform. Engineers were benefiting from it. People that had gone to film school were benefiting from it. Art directors were benefiting. Dancers were benefiting from it. Various different bands and everything were benefiting from it. So I understand that consistently when we talk about awards and in the ways that, and that's why sometimes I cringe when the likes of Rekido, and I can understand him. Oh yeah, it's not, I mean, it's not for a musician. It's not, look, it's a lot of things to aspire to the mother of all awards in the world. It's a lot of things.
We need to nuance because these points. I need to make a strong.
Yes, it's a lot of things, and I can understand that. I can understand that
we'll
it's
come
Ghanaian.
Back to you for that one.
Yeah. It's Ghanaian to be very modest about things.
No, it's not being modest.
No, I'm coming. It's Ghanaian to say, oh, you know what? Cautious. Even if you go to the World Cup and you come to the quarterfinal, I'm coming. But you don't want to win the World Cup and you don't want to win the Grammys.
And it's a World Cup. It's World Cup.
Because do you know why? No, okay. So, Chief, do you know why you've? Do you know why you are?
Please.
Do you know why?
Let Sadiq finish his.
Do you know why? Because consistently the sports people have been able, and that's what even happens. You can imagine that even from an arts platform, this is what we're doing to ourselves. The reason why the sports people you've come to accept that is that constantly they've drummed it home into your mind to see not only the financial value, but to see also the positioning and value that it gives to your country. You understand? Because of course they tell you that if you get to the quarterfinals, you win the World Cup, you get X amount of money, you get this, you get this, you get that, you get that. I've given an example of how when Burna Boy attained Grammys or worked towards Grammys, he expanded, and when they expand today, when you go to Nigeria, previously when BVs was not a big deal, backing vocalists, today there are people that are just earning just by being BVs. It's a big deal to be songwriters these days, even in Nigeria, because when the space improves and there's money and there's all that, and you can get today when music has become more global, and you are having to, it's also become a volume trade where you gain the biggest global attention for you to be able to make in much money. It's very, very important and a bigger deal to actually aim for the Grammys. Nobody should say anything less.
Because
nobody, it is not. We shouldn't just
your market
accept
value
the
and all that.
Everything. And you see, I give you an example. When Sarkodie, an example, for instance, Blacko. The moment Blacko gained that global prominence, it's expanding. His team has expanded. They are now doing a couple of things. The guys have moved to start to produce their own shows and dropping value to other people. Look at his videos. Who do you think is filming the videos? These are young ones coming from the film school. But the moment his brand went up, appreciated, and he made money, and he needed to keep up or go up, he's beginning to pour more money into some of these things. This is money that comes directly into your economy and to young people that are from film school. So attaining to the biggest has benefits that comes down to everybody. So let's not say that to say, yeah, listen, whether it's a stream competition or not, if you are listening to us, it's a bigger deal. If you don't, we will continue to actually question you and actually continue to, and it's the same thing we should do to ourselves. We should rise to the highest. It's a big deal to have
to take this into the Ministry
I'm coming.
of Tourism.
It's a big deal
for policy wise. No, Sammy, let's. Okay.
No, it's a big deal. I know. Look, there are a lot of theater players. There are a lot of theater players in the space. Right?
I need to connect with Denta real quick. So if
no,
you
but
guys,
it's important that I interject briefly.
We'll come back to
because
that.
I'm probably one of the most ambitious young men there is, so definitely I can't have a problem with ambition.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, no, I know. No, but policy-wise, because of where you are heading, it's important for us.
So, Grow, Unite, and Build Africa, G.O.A.T, hosted the Africa Nominee Brunch in California. That was on February 4th to celebrate African artists who have been nominated in various categories for the 65th Grammy Awards. The brunch took place on the eve of the 2023 Grammy Awards. The event actually did play host to nominated artists, including the likes of 2021 G.O.A.T Awards winner Angelique Kidjo, Rocky Daouni, 3-time nominee, Burna Boy, Thames, and a host of other great African artists who were nominated. And also in attendance was the Recording Academy CEO, Harvey Mason Jr., and the president of the Recording Academy as well. They were in attendance at the brunch as guests of honor. Now, G.O.A.T is and actually happens to be a social enterprise organization dedicated to the advancement of diaspora Africans and Africans on the continent through various socio-economic programs and initiative. All right, so let me connect at this point with Lady Denta Amwatin, MBE. Denta, good afternoon.
Hi. Good morning, Sammy. How are you?
I'm good, and a happy belated birthday. Or is it today?
No, it's March. It's March the 13th.
Oh, so we are celebrating all the way through to March. Okay, nice. We'll do that. but But before you even begin to speak, let me say a big congratulations on how far you've come with G.O.A.T. The things you're doing are really amazing. And after the Grammys were held, I'm sure you've seen the praises coming your way across social media. We really appreciate what you're doing for the industry.
Thank you, and I appreciate everyone as well. And good afternoon to my brothers on the panel. I hope everybody's well. Thank you for the comments as well. I really appreciate it.
Well, how do you feel basically after putting up this amazing, event before the Grammys?
Amazing. As Rocky, again, big congratulations to Rocky for always, lifting the flag of Ghana. Last year I had the opportunity to go to the Grammys. Angelique Kidjo actually gave me an invitation to attend the Grammy Awards. And GIPC gave G.O.A.T. the opportunity to organize an event to celebrate Rocky Dawuni in Vegas as part of his nomination. And through that, we had an amazing event. We put on a great event. Rocky was celebrated. And I met this young gentleman. It was actually when I was leaving. I met this guy called Sean, who was part of the Recording Academy. And he was like, "Oh, you did really good at hosting. Here's my card, keep in touch." And sometimes when you go to events, people give you a card, you just put it away, you don't really think anything of it. So a few months later, I messaged him and I was like, this is Denta, was at the Grammys last year. Sorry, I was Grammys this year and, would, want to connect. And, we started talking. And so at that time, we were planning the G.O.A.T. Awards. And I was like, look, our board has suggested Harvey Mason Jr. To be awarded for G.O.A.T. for the work that he has done in the music industry, etc. Do you think it's something that he would come to? And he said, yes, why not? Here's his PA's email. Give it a shot and see how it goes. And so emailed and they were like, yes. It's so important that whenever we are given opportunities and whenever a door is open for us, that we really push the boundaries. Because I could have been scared to say, Grammy CEO dear, how is he gonna come to G.O.A.T? How? But I had the confidence that one, I know that my platform is great, and two, that we wanted to celebrate him. And so he said yes, and I was like, okay, I would want you to come to Ghana first, before we go to Rwanda. And they were like, yeah, why not? Came to Ghana, connected so well. We did an event where we invited, everybody in the creative industry that we could get to come and meet Harvey, to speak to him and just to connect with him. And then following that, there's been ongoing conversations with Harvey. And so just a week to the event, a light bulb moment came, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's nothing to celebrate at the African nominees. Quickly called Harvey and I was like, Harvey, can we do this? Would you support us? Would you come? Would you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, then to do it. We'll be there. We'll come and, they actually suggested the venue for us. They helped us. And we were able to put on this event. And the other thing I was like, Harvey, can I get invites for some of these African artists to come to the Grammys? Because there's not many Ghanaians that get the opportunity to be at the Grammys. And so if I'm able to go, I want to extend that to my African brothers and sisters. He was like, yeah, D, who do you want to invite? And so at that time, it was a bit crazy because I was like, okay, who do you get? You've only got like 3 invitations that's been given. And how do you invite the key people? And I had to think about, okay, who is in America right now? Because one, getting visa, maybe extending it to other artists, getting that they might not have visas, they might not have this, etc. And so I knew that Stone was in what's it called, was in the US. Kiddy was planning on going to the US, and Edem was also in the US. We did extend the invite to Sarkodie, but Sarkodie wasn't able to make it, and King Promise, they weren't able to make it. But for me, I really wanted to make sure that we had a good representation at this year Grammy Awards. And I think that we did what we could. The guys, took the opportunity as well, networked. I mean, even at our event, we had Empire, we had Sony, we had so many record labels that were at the event that people could leverage from. And so I'm praying that next year, I mean, Harvey wants this to happen every single year. Next year, when we do it again, we'll be able to have more artists and even more female artists as well represented at the Grammy Awards. And so I've just used the platform that God has given at the time, and I've tried to pull in my brothers to also be part of it.
Wow, this is really wonderful. This is really, really wonderful. And it's amazing how everything just aligned and was easy to pull off. But I wouldn't say it was easy necessarily, because I want to believe that there were a couple of costs that came through with all that.
Of course.
If you were to put, say, a figure on how much it all cost to come together, what are we looking at?
It cost a lot, but I think the worth in terms of what happened on the day and what is going to happen is you can't put a price on it. You definitely can't put a price on it. And so for me, it's about what can we do from this platform? How do we engage from this platform? And how do we get more creatives on that platform? We gave Chocolate, our designer, the opportunity to also do a small fashion show. We have Selim, we gave art, Selim came to present his artwork that he's doing. And so just really promoting the different creatives that are from the continent, which was really important. So not just, having the artists, but our fashion there. If you speak to Chocolate Bidiako, he will tell you the number of orders that he has gotten through the event. And so I think you can't put money on it.
All right, great. Just before I let you go real quick, let me just find out as well. What about for media people in Ghana? And this is purely based on my experience back in the day when I used to handle artists. I remember going over to MTV Awards, and then I went over to Channel O as well. When you're on the red carpet like that, there's a lot of media there, but when you step on the carpet, people don't really know who you are. They don't pay attention to you and all that. And I literally had to go talking to each other. Oh, this is this person from Ghana and blah 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 and all that. Are there any more opportunities available for media people to also come there and probably get this from the red carpet itself at the Grammys, and be able to give the Ghanaian contingent that would go all the visibility that it should get as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's going to be loads more opportunities as this one has been successful. I even tried to get some of our photographers on the red carpet. There's stuff that I'm doing in the background, but sometimes you can't even talk about it. But I tried to push, basically. I tried to push the barriers. I tried, to see if our media people can also come and cover it. But it's step by step. This is a global brand. It takes a lot to get your foot in there. But I think I've pretty much put some type of foot in there. And so we're praying that, next year we'll be able to add more people to the Grammys. And I think also just adding about the Grammys is a huge platform. I even saw a tweet from Snoop Dogg on his social media that he put that he's been nominated 20 times but has never won a Grammy. And so to put things in perspective, nominations are sometimes even bigger than winning. Yes, we want to make sure that our artists win. We want them to win. Like the Grammys is the ultimate for any artist, for any musician. But I think that the nominations also open a wide door for a conversation. And so big respect to Rocky Dawuni for getting 3 nominations and opening the door for some of us to be able to come in. So, you know, we really, really appreciate that.
Right. Denta, were there any challenges whatsoever?
No, honestly, I'm a person that just likes to look at the positive. The challenges come every day, but I think for me, I just want us to really focus on the positives and what we can do from henceforth. You know, doing these type of things is not easy. There's a lot of backdoor conversations that happen, and for us to get to this position it's a really, really big deal. Believe you me, it wasn't easy to get our artists on the red carpet. You know, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But, you know, through the conversations, through, you know, just having that, building those relationships. It's about building relationships in the US, having that relationship, the right people, doors will be opened. And I think that's what the Nigerians have been able to do. They're good at networking. They have people who are there fighting on their behalf, you know, speaking to the right people. And once we're able to do that and we have more people through the door to do the similar thing, we will get there.
Great. Denta, let me not take too much of your time, but once again, a very big thank you for everything you're doing for the arts. I don't know if there's anything you want to say in conclusion before we wrap it up.
No, just a big thank you to everybody listening. Let's keep supporting our artists. Let's keep streaming. Let's keep putting them where we can and encouraging them. And, you know, just supporting them. We need to make sure that we are supporting each other and no pull me down. Like, let's just really push our artists wherever we can, because that's exactly what the Nigerians are doing. They have people, trust me, who are pushing for them all the time, and we don't have that. And so when we do have people who are trying their best, let's just keep supporting them. And I think that's really, really important.
Lady Denta Martin, MBE, thank you so much for speaking to us, and God bless you, and happy birthday in advance. We look forward to having a great time with you. Yeah.
Thank you, Sammy.
All right, wonderful. Let me at this point connect with Rocky. Rocky, if I still have you and you can hear me. Rocky, I just want us to wrap it up real quick as well. I don't know if you have any last remarks regarding the entire Grammy conversation. And also, once you're in the desert working towards an album, what are we looking at? When are we to expect a new album as well? Hello, Rocky, can you hear me? You would have to unmute if you can hear me. Okay, it looks like we don't have Rocky. Well, we probably don't have him yet. But let me come back to the studio. Chimumi.
Yes. You know, we've been having a very interesting discussion, you know. And let me start by saying and making it clear that as a very ambitious young man, there's no way I'm against ambition. Anyone who wants to reach for their dream should reach as much as possible. I have recognized the fact that, yes, Grammy, by virtue of its place in the world, has become like the de facto world award. In fact, that's the word I use, de facto, right? So if our people can get there and win recognition, by all means they should. It will bring, you know, a lot of benefit, you know, downstream. All I am just cautioning against is that we shouldn't make it so much of a standard that every single musician who is about to produce I'm producing to win a Grammy. The young man in my neighborhood who is going into the studios, oh, I want to win a Grammy. Because once you begin to do that, you are pandering to certain metrics. But that's then in that way you are killing creativity. Let's ensure.
So, Chief,
yes.
Don't you see yourself reaching the levels of, say, Tyler Perry?
Oh, I even want to go beyond that. You see, let me give you one young people come to me, right? Oh, I mean, you are doing Mansa Musa 200 cast production. You are trying to take it across the world. I know how I advise people. In this world, you know, there are outliers. If you're an outlier, you can take risks. I have been taking risks for the past 10 decades. No, 10 years. Sorry. For the past 10 years.
10 decades.
Look, I am someone like
10 decades.
I am willing to put every last penny I have in my dream. Like, I have never had a point where I've had money sitting in my account for 1 month untouched, because my dreams are scary. They are bigger than, you know, what I can afford, right? And I'm moving. And I tell people that, yes, if you're someone like me who is willing to take all the risks, who is willing to spend all your lifetime building something, by all means go for it. But know yourself. If you are not that kind of person, my friend, find a job somewhere and do and cater for your basic needs and survive. Let's understand, and this comes to entrepreneurship, this whole craze that, oh, we should be entrepreneurs. Look, we are not all going to be entrepreneurs. We are not all going to be like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg. We need a few people like that to change the world, but majority of us are going to be employees. Majority of us are going to be regular Joes. Let us create systems that provides the opportunities for the Steve Jobs to emerge, as well as for the regular Joes to find their space. So my point is that, yes, majority of Ghanaian artists or African artists would never win a Grammy. When we make that an obsession, even as an issue of mental health, it will come to a point where someone feels that because I've not been nominated or won on a Grammy, I'm not worth, you know, my creativity. It will bring about depression. So myself is, let's create opportunity
on the Weekend
for
City
those.
Show, I'll say in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yes, those who want to aspire should aspire as much as possible, but let's not make it a standard for every single person. If we do that, we are pandering to a particular metric and a particular audience, and we are going to kill the diversity of expressions that will come out of. When Billie Eilish was performing her songs in her room, she wasn't thinking about Grammys, but she produce an album that, you know, exceeded everybody's expectation. Focus on the art, especially when you are starting in the creativity, and build your discography. Right now, if Alchami Kwame is aspiring for a Grammy, or by all means, if Sarkodie, because they've actualized in the Ghanaian market, right? But my point is that, especially for young people coming, the last thing on your mind when you go into that studio is because I want to win a Grammy. It's because you want to produce timeless, quality music. And when the likes of Baba Sadiq hears it and say, oh, this is good music, let's enable this guy, then he can come with all his marketing, you know, and chicks, you know, Sammy, enabling them propping into let the business guys handle that. But as an artist,
let Sadiq make his final point. We need to move the discussion to another
whether
thing,
we like it or not, whether you're trying to do it even in your small way, there will be standards and there will be benchmark, and particularly where something has proven to be a very stronger and a bigger standard, it's never ever wrong, even if it means that we have to hold people to it. It's a standard. The standard does not only validate your win, it also recognizes the various creative diversities Chief talks about. There are individual categories with different mechanics and metrics. Awards are nothing without the mechanics that makes them. You understand? And so for me, I think that if over 50 years there's a particular group that has continuously invested in research, in creating a stronger mechanics that's logical, reasonable, and empowering for creators across the world, there's absolutely nothing wrong holding it to anybody, because I mean, we know somebody was just explaining to us back off air when we were talking about how 14 different artists from Africa have won the Grammys from different sides of Africa. If you look at the diverse nature of the music that had come up and all, beyond everything else, music, whether you like it or not, has one universal language. The technical language of music is one anywhere across the world. It's a benchmark enough. If your song has not been mixed well, it's not been mixed well. Regardless of wherever standard you want to have. It's not been mastered well, it's not been mastered well. If your song doesn't have the qualities that the technical people understand it to be, that makes it like a song, proper song in the way it's supposed to be, it doesn't. Here's the case, there's a particular award has not only become enabler, but validates all the good things that has to do with music universally.
You mean
where
Grammys
everybody
validates all the good things that has to do with music?
Yes, that's what Grammys does.
All right. Oh, Sadiq, you make your point, because
even
we're wrapping
Grammys
up
themselves face criticism in their home country.
It doesn't mean that
but let's not say they validate everything good and that they are the world's biggest authority in music.
Because they've ended.
I mean, they have credibility.
All right. At this point, this matter, we have finished it. We won't talk about it again. Do you happen to know what's going on with it, for starters?
I don't know what's going on with for Sutherland Park, and I don't think our issue is just about that park, because when I put out the post on social media, somebody from Kumasi told me about Children's Park in Kumasi, and according to him, it's been neglected since 2009. So this whole thing about we getting our kids event centers, playgrounds, it's not just about Accra. Most times we just focus so much on Accra, forgetting about the other regions. And so when he wrote that, I was like, okay, so why are we not so much concerned about the children as well? We live in a society where most times we are not concerned about the well-being of the child, the psychological well-being, because if you want to develop the child, it's affecting the child's cognitive, psychomotor, and everything. You see, but most times we think that, okay, so once you give the child maybe the classroom education, once you are able to take the child to school and they're able to learn mathematics, 1 + 1, 2, that's all. You need to also develop the other parts of the child, you know, recreation and all that. Yeah. Very important. But we live in a society where we don't pay attention to that side of it. And it goes a long way to also tell how we are not so much interested in putting up venues. It's a general situation. And you and I have been complaining about this over the years, even talking about the national cultures.
Yeah.
National theaters, art centers across the various regions and all that. We have been talking about it all this while.
Obviously apartments.
And you see, and the governments, they come every year, you know, year in, year out.
Yeah.
They promise us they're going to do this for us. They don't do it. Now, another one that is even grave is the fact that even after we've been giving these venues, these centers, maintenance
Culture.
So you see, somebody may say, okay, I'm going to provide a center, a playground for children. Now, he will start 1 year, 2 years, and then it goes in a bad state. So I keep asking myself what we're doing as a people to change that kind of mentality and attitude. Because the National Theatre, for example, now if you go there and you complain about generators, about AC system, about whatever, recently somebody said that he was there and there were mosquitoes in there. You ask about things that are not functioning well there, they will tell you, oh, it's been like 30 years old, and when we go on the market, we don't get the same equipment. We need to travel to China to get them. So the whole issue is very complicated. You know, apart from we not getting these centers for the children, when we have them, how do we maintain them? All right. So it's about time we as a people, not just about the creative industry, but as a people in general, thought about how we can develop our children, not only the adults. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did a topic here about kids' content on our various social media or media platforms. And it's very important because it appears we are allowing our kids to consume, you know, things that are meant for the adults. And it's very, 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 very serious. And it boils down to this whole thing. We're talking about kids not having centers to go for recreation and all that. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what government's plans are about this. But, you know, this is a system where individuals can also come in. You know, when you have people who want to also invest in these areas and make sure that maybe I am an individual, I want to put up a playground, an amusement park and all that, to make sure that we provide other platforms, other centers for our kids to also use as a way of, you know, whiling away time and all that. It shouldn't always be about the classroom education. We should be concerned about developing the child holistically. You know, all the domains of the child should be developed. And I think that's something that we should take into consideration.
Great. Ochabe Kwame.
Yes.
You're a hands-on dad.
Trying to be.
Event venues for kids. Do you believe it's a neglected necessity?
No, I think it's a cultural issue. It's a cultural and historic issue. We need to look. Yes. So before, I wish I could say this in Twi. I have to now think of it in Twi and translate it in English.
Feel free.
Yes. So before the European came here, where did children play? That's the question we need to ask. So our houses were 4 blocks like that. And in the middle of that block was where all the storytelling happened, was where the children met and played ampe and played owari. So children didn't used to move from one center to a park where they all played. So the problem of parks being neglected stems from that psychosocial evolution of who we are. Where did our foremothers play before the concept of parks and wheels and trains and schools came? So that is what we need to look at. Now, once we have looked at the root of the problem, then if we now have accepted a Eurocentric idea of where children should play, then we must now say that, okay, this is not who we are, but this is who we are becoming. So let us all together, through media advocacy, through policy, through education, through the church, through all the agents of socialization, re-engineer our thinking to fit the certain space that we have artificially emerged ourselves in. So we need to solve that problem first. Okay. And otherwise we will do 100 more venues for children. All of them will still go to waste. So we need to look at ourselves as, who are we? Bringing it back to the conversation of the Grammys, we are still trying to tell the African story. We've not told our story, but we are going to use the American microphone, and immediately our story becomes nicer, they will turn it off. We need to go back to who we are as a people and look at ourselves. Where did we go wrong? Once we get to that point, we will be able to build upon not our retrogressive traditions, but on our progressive traditions, find our identity, and in that identity find our wealth. And that is where that holistic education will come to play.
I'm curious, based on your submission, how did you have fun with your kids?
How do I have fun with my kids?
Yes. Do you take them to, like when you travel, do you take them to playgrounds?
Yes, sometimes we go to playgrounds, but I tell you that 99% of the fun that I'm having with my kids is in the house. Mommy, I drop them at school, they come back 5 o'clock, they are tired. So we do homework for 2 hours, and then I show them some announcing story, they are asleep. On weekends, we get to do something. We do a movie night, storytelling again, find a wholesome movie for the whole family once, and then once in a long while, we all drive to a park to pretend that we are having fun disjointedly. Wow. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is unimportant for us to do it, but it is not a natural fit.
Okay.
So if that is where we want to go, we need to go intentionally.
Do you think Ghanaians are ready for amusement parks?
I think so. The way we are all talking about it, I think we are all cosmopolitan enough to know that it's a good thing. But beneath that cosmopolitan nature is who we are.
I see. Interesting. Uncle Ken.
Sammy.
After this submission, it is your corner now. I have to come.
No, I think you've been very unfair to me. You didn't let me.
Oh.
You didn't let me conclude on the Grammys. What I wanted to say on the Grammys.
But there are some similarities here, actually.
Okay.
I seriously think that, should I do the Grammys or you want me to do this first?
Okay, do this first, and
then I can end with the Grammys.
You use Grammys to bosso.
Okay.
No, you should do the Grammys and go to his point, because when he finishes, we are continuing with what is. Yeah,
exactly.
And we
Chief,
need to connect with someone.
You're very
else
smart.
soon, so.
Thank you, Chief. Look, with all the conversation about the Grammys, Kwame, you know what I'm worried about? Don't forget something. The award for Best Global Music Album is reserved for international performers exhibiting non-European indigenous traditions. Now, in 1996, the Academy trustees attempted to solve the problem of compressing 75% or more of the world's music into a single award category by broadening the definition of world music to include non-Western classical music. That that is when the Global Music Awards was incorporated. Now, this means that artists from all over the world can win the Global Music Awards. When it was world music, it was centered, it trajected mostly towards African and had a particular sound. Now, anybody can win it. Hence, a Japanese winning it. Now.
You know, this Grammy conversation about winning, there's always been that part where you have to be part of the academy to be able to win or not be nominated, or I don't know, has that been eliminated, or
look,
that doesn't hold water
it has to be
anymore?
globally.
The point, the simple point I want to make, we need to be very careful and realize that the category has now been enhanced in such a way that it is not only African or semi, that can win, but anybody from around the world can win. So we need to raise the bar. If we are interested in getting there. That is just the point I want to make on the Grammys. Okay. Now, the children's thing.
The amusement parks.
Look, congratulate G.O.A.T for always bringing up the family in the park.
Family party in the park,
thing.
yeah.
It shows that
it's always sold out.
Of course it is always sold out. Because families are looking for places to take their children and to meet other families and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
This Efwa Sutherland's Children's Park thing, I've always said that unless it is run by private sector
or a trust,
thank you, Sadiq, it can never succeed. Let us stop trying to want government to run everything for us in this country, because it simply doesn't work. When government is involved in doing certain things, we always have problems. Everybody chop for in work site comes in. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Yes, it does come in. But if the private sector is running things, they do so based on profitability and make sure that whatever the enterprise they are running succeeds. Hence, Joy FM has been running for how many years?
20 or 27.
Thank you. Thank you. So this children's thing, and the children of today, what even amazes me is the children of today, most of them have minds of adolescents. How do we categorize the children we want to make happy? Ochami's children, Ochami has lived with his family for so long, he's brought them up in a certain way, so they're cool. They know what they enjoy doing. If you stretch it out and say children from all spheres of life should come together at certain playgrounds and enjoy certain things, it's going to be a problem. Do you know why? Because there are others whose minds are more than adults. There are children whose minds are more than adults. How do we make those children happy? What do we create for those children? It's a very serious topic.
Yeah.
Very, very serious topic. So we need to think deeply about it. Media, if you ask me, I say, let the children enjoy themselves. Just make sure that they do so, not contravening any rules.
Great. All right. Thank you, Uncle Ken. At this point, let me quickly connect via Zoom with Kwabna Opon Opoku.
Okay.
He is the executive producer and CEO of Midas Touch. Kwabna, can you hear me?
Hello, Sammy. I can hear you.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Great connecting with you. Quickly, let me just find out from you first of all. Now you've been committed to this drive to make sure that amusement parks are factored into Ghana's current development. How is that quest going so far?
Well, so far so very good. I have always had a plan to, to set up an amusement park, more like a Disneyland kind of thing. But Disneyland and Universal Studios, right? So
yeah,
it's always been my dream or my plan to set up something like that in Africa, because I realize we don't have a Disneyland or Universal Studio in any part of Africa. I stand to be corrected. Growing up, I used to go to the Forson Park. I was listening to your conversation earlier, and so I grew up attending Forson Park, and I realized it's not fancy no more. So I spoke to a few Japanese partners and investors here, and they came on board with me. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So I think 4 years ago, we was in Ghana for a survey. We ended up meeting with the Minister of Tourism at that time was Madam Barbara or something. Yeah. So what happened is when we came back from Ghana, that was when the COVID started. So it kind of slowed things down. But yeah, it's something that is really on our to-do list, and we really want to do it.
Any challenges so far regarding trying to achieve this?
I believe the challenge is I think we all can relate to the same thing. When it comes to achieving this kind of stuff back home, it's about talking to the right people, getting the right location, lands and stuff like that. You go through this, it's I believe the normal challenges people go through acquiring stuff like this, especially when it comes to the lands and everything.
Yeah, I am very familiar with that.
But yeah, so I've spoken with few people that are ready to lease me their lands or whatever, sell to me. We're still having a conversation about it, but it's very, very delicate when you deal with land issues back home. So these things takes time.
Great.
Yeah.
So currently, with you trying to achieve this, do you think the policies that are in place are very enabling in that aspect of trying to develop amusement parks and invest into that particular aspect of building a country?
It's gonna help. It's gonna help the country a lot. It's gonna boost tourism. It's gonna create jobs for people too. Because when you travel all over the world, everybody goes to Disneyland. It's not even just about all of the kids. Disneyland, Universal Studios are meant for family, are meant for lovers to go on a date, for married couples. So it's for everybody, not just the kids. So my view or my dream is to make it similar like a Disneyland or a Universal Studio, whereby you can have everything there, not just an amusement park for kids, that everybody can go.
Okay, great. Right, you stay with us for a bit. Let me quickly connect with my people, my panel in the studio as well. Let me come to you, Sadiq. Now, amusement parks. Why aren't we focused on building amusement parks for our kids?
I think it comes down to the environmental policies we have in the country. I mean, and obviously that's coupled with the scenario that Ochami Kwame, for instance, gave, which kind of assets some of the things that we do. But in the country and environmentally, I don't think there's any overarching major policy to sort of insulate society from some of the climatic changes that's happening across the world. Because I mean, beyond it's just providing a recreational point for the families and young ones and everything. Parks also exist to sort of protect cities, organizations, cities and communities for environmental impact. And it's also important to use that as a place where, for instance, we could raise a whole new generation, informing them fully on the necessary lifestyle changes that we need to undertake to protect the environment. I mean, all of those things are lost on us. And that's why, for instance, if you ask a lot of people, we're saying it purely from the recreational point. And once families are in their own small way organizing their own recreational point, either at home, in their communities or anything, or in their schools, it ends with that. But there are far bigger environmental benefits to have parks. Because usually parks should also look at, the way we are regarding the parks and those organizations. Our parks, what's the full name of the parks organization in the country? Parks and Gardens
Parks and
organization.
Gardens,
I mean, if you go deeper into it, you realize that it's one of the under-resourced organizations. But it's never supposed to be so. And today even it's become more important also because when you're economically, even when you are talking about the ratings of the country, because we are signatories to the Paris Accord, for instance, right? Our response or governance related to environmental issues or environmental policies become very important. So organizing parks now should be scaled up. It should go beyond just creating recreational points for young people, but creating it as a matter of environmental policy to protect society from climate change or climatic situations. Most importantly, as well, using that as a point of amplifying conversations in and around environmental issues, which has become the biggest conversation lately. So it all comes back to it. It all comes back to it. We are very lax on a lot of the issues that impact the environment in this particular country, and so we are not surprised that these things happen. But ordinarily, even if the EPA, for instance, was going to take these issues to say, okay, well, even though we're a regulator of that, some of the funds that we get or some of the money that comes to us together, or let's say the Forestry Commission, for instance, we're going to embark on ensuring that across, when we talk about greening Ghana, would ensure that there are key points or major parks in the cities, also using that to amplify some of the environmental issues. That's very important for a whole new generation to know about.
All right, great. Let me come to you, Chief Mumin.
Yes. So I mean about the Grammys, you have to understand that.
Grammys again.
No, these are connected. I'm kidding.
I know I want to see you
Chief,
for Grammy red carpet.
Oh, you want to see me? Anyway, I think that Okshamukome made a very important observation. In fact, when you started and you said you will be looking for a place to take your children, I was going to say, even if we build a big amusement park and you go there once or twice, what else? So at the end of the day, yeah, even though I think that eventually we'll have some of these things, because as we become more urbanized, more in quote westernized, we seem to validate all of the things that they validate, right? So you may find, and for even now when you look at it, there are some community amusement parks that are coming. There is something at Legon, the Legon Botanical Gardens. It's kind of an amusement area. I've seen some adverts on Instagram and all of that. So it is happening. These things, you just need private involvement. It's a middle class problem. Once the economy is beginning to boom and people have disposable income, that's when you are thinking of, oh, where can we go and pay and do this? Because some of us, when we're growing up, is the chaskere, is the five-a-side football, is the alikoto, the petting. These were the ways in which we amused ourselves as children. Okay, that's not your generation.
There's COVID now.
Oh, yeah. So I understand that these things are a matter of investment appetite. Also because some of us have always said that, in this country, we haven't diversified our portfolio of investment. When you have money, the first thing you think of is real estate. Second thing, real estate. Third thing is real estate. We used to find a lot of solace in the finance markets, bonds and treasury bills. Now it's all also becoming problematic. So maybe we need people of means, who have resources in our society to invest in these things. But for me, ultimately, it comes back to what Okshamukome said. What is our understanding of amusement, right? Because maybe we are now all insular. We are now all living in buildings that are barricaded by big walls. We may need to converge at a separate area as against when we're communal. But I think that even within the families itself, we can find innovative approaches, to amuse ourselves, to engage ourselves, to make our children exposed and more advanced. I know that nowadays the biggest concern is security. Back then, the community served as a security for all. So when your child is going out within the community, that some uncle somewhere, some neighbor out there would keep an eye, on your child. But now everyone is more or less like, to each to ourselves and God for us also. That's also another challenge that is coming out as out of our embrace of Western standards of living. But I guess we'll see these things happening in the coming decade. I think that people are seeing it as an opportunity to invest and make money, so it will happen. But beyond that, even when we have those amusement parks, will it still serve the purpose that we wanted? When you go there once or twice, what next? So at the end of the day, it's about how you manage your home, how you engage your children, and what opportunities you provide. As Okshamukome has said.
All right, thank you. Let me quickly wrap up with Kobe, who is on Zoom. Kobe, as we conclude this, anything you want to add to it? Is there any calls you'd want to make on the powers that be to enable you achieve what it is that you want to achieve with the amusement parks?
I mean, at the end of the day, if there's anybody I need to talk to, I guess it has to be the Ministry of Tourism, because at the end of the day, amusement park. And I want to say one thing: we don't need to limit this to just the kids, because, like I said earlier, if you travel outside and you go to Universal Studios or you go to Disneyland, it's not just about the kids; it's about the whole family thing. You see couples, you see lovers, you see married people, you see grown-ups there. So it's not just an amusement park that you're gonna only see kids. You're gonna only take your kids there. It's for a whole family to get together and have fun. So what I would say is that I would like to call the Ministry of Tourism. In any way they can support me and my investors, we are ready to put something like that up in Ghana and make history for Ghana and create jobs for people. So yeah, I'm ready to do it.
Right. We would want to see that coming to fulfillment. But before I let you go, real quick, Chief Wubin wants to add a word.
Bro, Kobe.
Yes, sir.
Yes, when you raise $100 million and you come, trust me, you build the amusement park, right? You know, the bureaucracy is not the problem. It's about the funding. Once you have the funding, and you know that, I'm sure you've been working at it. Once you have the funding, it's about how big or small you want to go. And you come, it doesn't matter whether you meet the minister or not. You can even do this without the minister's support, right? So the most important thing is, convincing your investors out there that it makes business sense. And once you get the company and you come, we'll make it happen.
I think you're right. You have a point though. So yeah, that's true.
Right. Kobe, thanks a lot for connecting with us, and we wish you the very best, as always.
Thank you. Sammy.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so that was Kwabena Opon Opoku, call him Kobe for short, executive producer and CEO of Midas Touch. Let me speak to the Love Doctor. Can I call you the Love Doctor too?
Allowed.
All right. Valentine is here. There's no money, but we want to chill, and you have the remedy. Please tell us about it.
I mean, before the way you have connected money to the Valentine issue, I have to say something.
No, I talk finish. I say like I for no.
No. You talk. Love is free, but love isn't.
Okay.
Yes. Say the Valentine is lovey. It's not love. It has nothing to do with love. It's just lovey. So if you want to do lovey, you have to buy cake, buy this, buy that, go to show, buy dress. So it's not free. So all that I'm saying is that Valentine happened to be on a Tuesday. The Saturday, if you didn't get to go anywhere, or if you want to do it again, I'm organizing the Love Lockdown event at Plus 233 with myself, Afriye, Sinaso, and Miss V. Just love songs, 30 love songs with stories from amazing stories that will blow your mind. So it's going to be really, really, really interesting. And you remember that last year when I launched my book, The Love Lockdown. So this is a recap of the book, bringing it to bear in a more entertaining, conversational way with just love songs. And in the middle of all that interaction, it's an experience. Love Lockdown. It's not a musical concert, it's an experience. In the middle of that, we get DJ and the Dusty to also play, who have like a 30-minute set where we play just love songs for dances. So on Saturday on the 18th, meet me at Plus 233 and come and experience something interesting. It's a conversation with music, comedy, drama. You will enjoy it, so just come.
Okay, so it's on the 18th, right?
18th, yes. We start.
Okay.
Waka waka, hey.
Okay. Try this one.
Yes, so it's on the 18th, and we start at 9. And when I say 9, it's not 9, 9:30, 10. No. It's Uncle White 9.
Uncle White.
Yes, 9:1 we are late.
Okay.
So we start at 9. So.
But let me ask you, really, you're an advocate for Ghana, like you're selling Ghana all the time.
Yes.
What is it in particular that you love about this country?
About this country?
Yeah.
Let me be silly. Gabins. Abobo. Gobe. That is by the side. But what I love about, yes, but that's not what it's one of it. But the thing that I love about Ghana is the people. Even though we do not actually know as a people the value of everything that we have, the value of our wealth. We know the prices of everything, but the value of nothing. But a child on the streets who is looking for one Ghana city can bless you with a smile that you can't find anywhere in the world. I'm telling you, Ghana is the most beautiful place that I have ever been, with the most beautiful people, the most beautiful weather, the most beautiful women. No, I have
If you
traveled
were born
the
an
world.
Indian, you would have loved India all the
I
same.
have.
If you were
I
born-
just came back from India.
Yeah, no,
I love
that's
Ghana
because
more.
you are born a Ghanaian. You have a Ghanaian perspective. You
No,
know, from
I
a
didn't.
philosophical point.
I didn't used to love Ghana like this. First, before I went to live in America,
Yes.
every time I was driving to Ghana, I saw gutters and hungry children and bad politicians. But when I came back, I saw it as a blessing.
So if you were born an American or an Indian, you came to Ghana, you would have loved Ghana more than objectively.
I guess we would never know.
Yeah,
I
so
wasn't born
you
an
love
Indian.
ultimately the proximity determines your
I wasn't-
affection.
Achami.
Born
I'm
an
just
Indian.
playing the devil's
Okay,
advocate.
all right. I love what you love about Ghana, but
Yes.
I'm curious. What is that one thing that you hate about Ghana?
I don't like Ashanti women cooking ever foods or Fanti women cooking Ghana foods. I don't like it when I'm going to buy wache and it's being prepared by a greedy Fanti woman. Let Hausa women prepare wache. Let the ever women
should prepare it by the
prepare
goddess.
beans. Let Ashanti women prepare fufu. That's the only thing I don't like about Ghana. When greedy people, because of hunger, are trying to cook things they don't know how to cook
But what if they
authentically.
know how to cook it very well?
And that one, I'm honest. Yes, I want to see the Northerner cook wache before I buy it.
Okay.
That one there, I'm
Okay.
serious.
Achawi, I want you to wear your political lenses for this one.
Okay.
What do you make of the happenings currently in Ghana? Everybody's complaining about hardship and all those things. From a political perspective,
The economy.
yes.
Okay, I honestly, I think that the problem that we have in Ghana is just one, is that people don't love Ghana enough. I think that our problem is just one, because if we love Ghana enough, we will protect the waters so we can get water to drink. We will plant our food so we can get the food to eat. We will build our education not to become like a regurgitative education system that follows the East. We will create one that solves our problem. And then we will give the economy to people who are Ghanaian to manage it. So the problem that we are having, I like to go to the roots. The problem that we are having in Ghana is because we don't like Ghana enough. Because if we did, we would not import all the things that we know how to make here. And therefore need the dollar. For the dollar to increase its value above our own, then we go and pray for it. It's about love.
It's about
So
love.
let us love Ghana, eat Ghana, wear Ghana. At least everything that we can do in Ghana, let us choose that one first, and we'll see that we will not have a need for the dollar. Then our economy will stand.
Achabi,
Yeah,
thank
man.
you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure seeing you and having you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You look amazing.
Thank you, thank you,
Please
thank you,
tell
thank you.
your wife I miss her Gary photo.
Yeah, come home. Come home.
I will. I
Come
will.
home.
Your wife is of what
I will.
extraction?
Let me say a big thank you to Uncle Ken. Thank you to Kwame Danso. Thank you to my incoming MP, Sadiq. If you don't give me land for that, please. A big thank you to Ochabiko. A big thank you to Chief Moment as well. Thank you to the production team led by Philip Nye. A big thank you as well to Anita Tay, and of course to Ezekiel on social media. It's been a pleasure bringing you Showbiz A to Z on behalf of George Quay. I'm Sammy Forson. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and of course, don't forget, Kwabna Kwabna is live at the National Theatre this evening. We'll see you there.